I finally had the courage to leave my abusive, cheating wife. I found a suspicious hotel charge that I did not buy. It was on our shared credit card. The charge was for $80 from a fancy hotel bar downtown. It was dated from last Tuesday. She said she worked late. We lived in the suburbs in Illinois. She was older than me. She never let me forget who paid for this house. I waited until that evening. Our child was playing with blocks on the living room floor. I tried to sound casual. I asked her about the charge from the hotel bar. She did not look up from her laptop. She laughed. She said I was being controlling again. She asked if I was always this insecure. She claimed it was a work dinner. The conversation was over, but I knew she was lying. Her eyes were cold. The next day, I waited until she left. I felt sick as I got in her SUV. I turned on the navigation screen. I checked the history for Tuesday. It showed the office, then the hotel. After the hotel, there was another stop. It was a residential address. She was there for 2 hours. My hands were shaking. I went back inside. I typed the address into a search engine. I found the building directory. I searched the names. I found one I knew. It was her coworker. That night, I confronted her again. I stood in the kitchen doorway. I said his name. I told her I knew the condo address. She stopped. She turned around. Her face was not guilty. It was angry. She walked up to me and shoved me hard. I stumbled back. She told me she paid the bills. She did whatever she wanted. She told me to never question her again. I let it go for one more day. I was terrified, but anger was building. The next evening, we were at the dinner table. Our child was eating. The silence was heavy and thick. I put my fork down. I told her I wanted the truth right now. She sighed, like I was boring her. She looked at me with no emotion. She said yes. She was sleeping with him. She said it had been 6 months. She said he was a real man. Then she smiled. She asked what I was going to do about it. She said I had nothing. I just watched her kid and lived in her house. Something inside me broke. The fear I lived with for years disappeared. It turned into ice. I saw her clearly. She was a bully, and she thought I was weak. I stood up. My chair scraped loudly on the wood floor. Before she could react, I grabbed her upper arm. I gripped her hard. Her eyes went wide. She was shocked. She never thought I would touch her. She felt my strength. It scared her. I did not say a word. I pushed her backward, out of the dining room. She stumbled. She yelled at me to let go. I was stronger than she knew. I pushed her through the living room, toward the front hall. She tripped over the rug. I forced her to the front door. I grabbed her coat from the hook. I snatched her briefcase from the floor. I yanked the front door open. I threw her things onto the porch. They landed near the bushes. I gave her one last shove. She fell backward, out of the house. I slammed the heavy oak door. I turned the deadbolt. The click was loud in the sudden quiet. I heard her screaming. She was yelling threats. She banged on the door. I watched through the peephole. She stood on the front lawn in the dusk, screaming. She looked small and helpless. Then I heard another sound. It was behind me. My child was at the top of the stairs, holding a bear. He was crying. He had seen everything. He was staring at me. The next morning, I packed 2 suitcases. One for me, one for my son. I put them in my sedan. Her SUV was still in the driveway. I guess she got a ride from him. I drove my son to preschool. Then I drove to the city. I went to his office. I found him in the lobby. He looked surprised. I told him it was over. I told him he could have her. I told him to stay away from my son. I was calm. He just nodded. My last stop was a new lawyer. I told him everything. I used the money from my private bank account, the one she did not know about. I filed for divorce. I drove back to get my son. I felt relief. It was a dark, heavy relief. When I pulled up to the school, I thought about my son's face. He was not afraid of her anymore. He was afraid of me.